Hello, my name is Sharee James, and for those of you that don't know me, I am a naturopath, yoga, and mindfulness meditation teacher specializing in helping women overcome anxiety naturally. So, today I wanted to talk about the connection between diet and anxiety. So, for some of you, this might be kind of like a new concept or a surprising or shocking idea that diet can have an impact on anxiety. But the truth is, it absolutely can. So it's important to recognize that, we're not just this separate body and mind. We are a body mind. So they are connected, and the body influences the mind, and the mind influences the body. So a classic example of this is, if you've got intrusive thoughts or a lot of worrying thoughts, that's sometimes enough to trigger anxiety. But likewise, if you have something like a lot of caffeine, or even for some people alcohol, this can also cause anxiety as well. So either way, what we know when someone is experiencing anxiety is that there's often an excess of stress hormones in the body. And diet can either kind of worsen that, or it can help to dampen them down. So I've actually seen in my practice a lot of people get really big improvements in their anxiety when they start tweaking their diet. So the three most important aspects to a diet that helps anxiety is, first of all, you want to reduce inflammation. So there's a lot of new research looking at how inflammation can actually be an underlying driver behind many mental health conditions, from anxiety to depression to schizophrenia to a whole bunch. Alzheimer's, for example, as well. And what we know is that a lot of people with mental health conditions like anxiety and depression, often when they get their blood tests done, they do have higher than normal markers of inflammation. So it's important to recognize that if the body is inflamed, the brain is going to be inflamed as well, because the brain is there inside your body. So, it's not uncommon for people with a lot of inflammation or inflammatory conditions, things like, type 2 diabetes, obesity, heart disease. A lot of these chronic lifestyle conditions that many of us suffer from these days are very, very inflammatory. And anxiety and depression often go along with them. So you do want a diet that helps to reduce this inflammation. Secondly, it's important to have a diet that is supplying key nutrients that the brain and the nervous system requires. So I'm sure you've heard of many of the famous neurotransmitters like serotonin or GABA, for example, dopamine. These natural brain chemicals require many different nutrients to actually be formulated in the brain. Like, many nutrients are the building blocks of these chemicals. So for example, serotonin, you need tryptophan, that's an amino acid that we find in our diets. And we also need the right gut bacteria to actually utilize this tryptophan and to turn it into serotonin. So there's many, many nutrients that are involved in intricate biochemistry to actually create these neurotransmitters. So a diet that's high in B vitamins, for example, iron, zinc, magnesium, iodine, selenium, and many others is really, really important. The third aspect of a diet that helps to reduce anxiety is a diet that balances your blood sugar levels. So if you're eating foods that keep swinging your blood sugars up and down, so usually these are like your refined carbohydrates, things like your white bread, white sugar, white rice, all of these things that have been refined and just cause this sharp increase in sugar and then a drop. This can impact anxiety because these fluctuations in blood sugar levels make the body think that it's in a state of danger. And so as a response to the blood sugar fluctuations, your adrenals then release cortisol, which is one of your stress hormones. And high cortisol is a big, big trigger for anxiety. So you can help to kind of give your nervous system a signal that everything's fine, that you're safe, by having a diet that just keeps these blood sugar levels really, really balanced. So I won't go too much into depth because I actually have a full PDF diet guide called Calming Foods that goes into this in a lot of detail, and it's free. You can download it. So I'll link to that either above or below this video, depending on where you're watching it. But in general, the main things you want to avoid: sugar for sure. For a lot of people, gluten is a big problem as well because it can be really inflammatory. Caffeine, obvious one. If you have anxiety, you want to avoid caffeine altogether. Any foods that you might be intolerant to. So this can vary from one person to the next. And with a lot of my patients, I actually get them to do an elimination diet where they take out a lot of foods that are common problems and then slowly reintroduce them to see which ones could be triggers for them. But yeah, in general, if you know you're intolerant to some foods, then take them out, because if you continue eating them, they're going to cause more inflammation and more distress to the gut as well. Refined carbohydrates, like we spoke about. Interestingly, for some of my clients, chocolate or cacao in general, so it's not just the sugar, but the cacao or cocoa portion, can be a problem for some people because it's actually quite stimulating. So just one to experiment with for yourself. And any chemicals, preservatives, those kind of things. So basically you want a natural, clean, whole foods diet that is really centered around predominantly lots of non-starchy vegetables. That's where you'll get all of that, those minerals and key nutrients that I spoke about. Moderate carbohydrates and not refined carbohydrates. So you want to get your carbohydrates from your vegetables, fruit, small amounts of of gluten-free grains such as quinoa, for example, and small amounts of legumes such as beans, lentils. But you also want to have moderate amounts of good quality protein, and really importantly, good quality fats, things like your avocado. Oily fish is really important. Coconut oil, olive oil, the natural unprocessed oils. Definitely stay away from the refined seed oils like canola, sunflower, that kind of thing. So anyway, it's all laid out in detail in my Calming Foods anti-anxiety diet, which, like I said, it's totally free. You can download it. You can either go to my website, Ashima Living, ASHIMA living.com, or I'll link it depending on where you're watching this, above or below the video. So thank you so much for watching. Go ahead, download the anti-anxiety diet, and I'd love to hear how you go on it. Thanks so much. Bye.